Fox 61 News at 5 starts now.
Hurricane Ian is now making landfall in southwest Florida. 155-mile-an-hour winds are incredibly dangerous.
Now at 5, we are tracking Hurricane Ian, the storm making landfall just over an hour ago. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank will have the latest forecast.
Plus, organizations right here in Connecticut are preparing to bring aid to Florida. We'll meet the teams heading down there.
And testimony continues in the Alex Jones trial today. The emotional message from Sandy Hook Parish.
And a 17-year-old dog is injured in a hit and run, and there's a reward now to find the person who's responsible.
Good evening and thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Brent Hart.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. We are tracking Hurricane Ian tonight. The winds are picking up in Placida, Florida. Ian has made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane.
Strong one of those. Taking a look live now at Tampa. You can see just how windy and rainy it is there. Just moments ago, we learned that more than 1 million residents are currently without power due to that storm.
Wow, we have live team coverage as we're tracking Hurricane Ian. DeAndrea Turner talks with Connecticut organizations about how they're working to provide aid. But let's start with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. She has the very latest on the storm and who's affected this hour. Rachel.
Yeah, extreme winds, devastating storm surge, and it looks like this storm will go down in the record books as tied for the 4th strongest hurricane to ever make landfall in Florida. And we're looking at wind speeds to make that classification. Obviously, Andrew is above that. So is Hurricane Michael. This is still the 435 advisory, waiting for the 5 o'clock one to come in, although we're not expecting much of a change. Winds of 145 miles per hour. The storm is crawling, so it's moving to the northeast at 9 miles per hour. You could drive way faster than this storm is moving, and that is adding to the impact from the storm surge, because storm surge is caused by that persistent onshore wind that's basically not moving very much. So the water levels are climbing rapidly still right now for areas like Fort Myers and for Port Charlotte. That will continue to be an issue. Meanwhile, on the northwestern side of the storm, buckets of rain and even tornado warnings in some of the outer rain bands as well. Where does the storm go from here? Heading through the evening tonight, it will slowly continue to weaken, cut off from its source of energy, which is the warm ocean water, but still continuing to bring gusty winds, heavy rain, and flooding along its way, eventually going back out into the Atlantic Ocean and making a 3rd landfall. Landfall number 1 was in Cuba, landfall 2 in Florida today, and landfall 3 in either Georgia or South Carolina as we head into later Friday and impacting those states through the upcoming weekend. I wanted to show you right now, this is not a computer model, but live wind gusts for Punta Gorda, 123 miles per hour. This must be a pretty solid weather station because all of the other weather stations in nearby areas have been broken by the power of the wind. Already also seeing storm surge anywhere between 5 to 9 feet with that storm, and it could get even higher as we head through the course of the evening tonight. We'll take a look and what's going on around here locally. Full forecast coming up in just a bit.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Now, Hurricane Ian, as she mentioned, a Category 4 storm. Already thousands, we just heard, actually 1 million Floridians are without power. That is a new update for you. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has a look at the latest conditions.
Hurricane Ian makes landfall along Florida's Gulf Coast, whipping up catastrophic winds and leaving thousands in the dark.
Hurricane Ian barreling down on southwest Florida Wednesday afternoon. At times, damaging winds topping 150 miles per hour knocked out power for hundreds of thousands of people. On Sanibel Island, gusts pushed a devastating storm surge as Ian moved ashore.
The safest thing to do is to find an interior portion of your home without windows, hunker down in that area, away from what could be windborne debris.
Ian will slowly track across the Florida peninsula, dumping more than a foot of rain over parts of Tampa, Jacksonville, and Orlando. Forecasters say by the time this hurricane leaves, parts of the coast could see storm surge reach 18 feet. People here have prepared for the worst.
I've been here 45 years, and this is the first time I left for a storm. The water just really scared me, and as well as the path
The rest of the day we're in. We're not going to be out again until probably Friday.
Some emergency response teams paused service as the weather intensified. Florida officials say crews will deploy as soon as conditions allow.
You do have some people who've chosen to hunker down in some very vulnerable areas, and so that is going to be something that I know that they're keeping a very close eye on.
Later this week, forecasters expect Ian to turn north, hitting the Georgia and South Carolina coasts. In Tampa, Malva Rivera, Fox News.
Organizations here in Connecticut are gearing up to help the people of Florida with whatever this strong Category 4 storm throws at them.
Fox 61's DeAndrea Turner found out what local disaster relief organizations are doing, and she joins us live in Hartford to continue our team coverage. DeAndrea.
Well, you guys, the Salvation Army and other organizations that I spoke with today, they tell me that they are just waiting on that phone call to head down there to Florida. And even one of our own, he's down there right now. As the sun shines here in Connecticut, people in Florida are living in a land of intense winds and rains as Hurricane Ian bears down on the coast.
A lot of people doing sandbags and a lot of prep. I haven't seen any National Guard. I have seen the Coast Guard flying.
Fox 61's photographer Pedro Rivera is stationed an hour north of Tampa to help our sister station with continuing coverage in the middle of the storm.
We were supposed to go to Kissimmee, and they kind of changed that plan as they couldn't find us a hotel. All the hotels are booked in the path of the hurricane.
Everyone is preparing for the impact this hurricane is going to leave behind. Crews here in Connecticut are also waiting on the green light to go help, like Linda Johansson, who is with the American Red Cross.
I'm coming from a situation up here where we're not in a disaster, and those folks are going to be suffering for quite some time. So whatever we can do to help them, I think is going to be great. So you just put your stuff on hold and you're ready to assist any way that you can.
And the Salvation Army is also on call to deploy for assistance too.
So we'll mobilize, whether it's driving our disaster food trucks down with trained teams, whether it's flying down to hopefully the nearest airport that is still accessible. And then from there, we go to the areas where there's the most need.
The overarching message is they are ready to help.
And everyone, hopes for the best, but again, preparing for what could be just catastrophic damage in some of these areas.
And like you guys saw, they are packed and they are ready. And like I said, they're just waiting on that phone call. And Pedro also tells me that they will go out in the field as soon as it is safe. For now, here in Hartford, DeAndrea Turner, Fox 61 News.
DeAndrea, thank you. For the latest developments on Hurricane Ian or any breaking news, be sure to check out the Fox 61 News app. It's free and you can download it using the QR code you see right here on your screen. All right, more Sandy Hook family members took the stand today in the defamation trial of Alex Jones.
The trial is related to Jones's lies, calling the Sandy Hook school shooting a hoax, and the trial is in its third week. More emotional testimony got underway today. Fox 61's Matt Caron has our story. Hi, Matt.
Yeah, hi, guys. Alyssa Parker and Bill Sherlock were the ones who took the stand today. Alyssa is the mother of Sandy Hook victim Emily Parker, while Bill is the husband of Sandy Hook school psychologist Mary Sherlock, who was also killed that day.
She just was a sweetheart.
On the morning of December 14th, Emily Parker boarded the bus as she always did, every day waving goodbye to Mom. But on this morning,
she didn't turn around and say goodbye. She didn't wave. And I just stood there waving, waiting for her to turn and wave to me. That was the last time I saw her.
These pictures, taken just moments after the couple learned Emily was gone.
I couldn't breathe.
The Parker family became the targets of ridicule, specifically Alyssa's husband, Robbie, whose smiling face was used as ammo for the hoax conspiracy.
He was always the one in control when things went bad. He was the one that you relied on.
As Bill Sherlock took the stand,
you started to see these distortions.
Plaintiff's attorneys made the point that Alex Jones not only lied, but sent his audience on a mission to torment grieving families.
This is all a hoax. That it's not, Mary didn't exist. Bill, their name isn't Sherlock. It got to the point where they were actually saying that I was somehow involved with the shooter's father in terms of this cabal. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Bill's wife, Mary, was the school psychologist.
Bright, intelligent, witty.
One of the first people killed, confronting the shooter in the lobby. Bill described the crippling grief that enveloped him the morning after.
I woke up and I looked across the bed. Nobody's there. I was like, this is how it's going to be. And I lost it. Totally lost it.
Loss that he copes with one day at a time.
Try to make it to lunch. Try to make it to dinner. Try to make it the next hour. Because that forever thing, totally incomprehensible.
Hard to put it into words sometimes, and hard to listen to that emotional testimony. We did learn at court today that tomorrow is going to be an early day for the jury. They're going to be let go at around 1 p.m., and that's when the judge and the attorneys are going to be handling some longstanding administrative issues. We do still expect Alex Jones himself to be back in court next week to testify yet again. Robbie Parker, by the way, took the stand. Court just wrapped up. He finished his testimony, and you'll be hearing that complete report of what he had to say with my colleague Gabby Molina on the Fox 61 News tonight at 10 and 11. For now, we're live here outside Waterbury Superior Court. Matt Caron, Fox 61 News.
All right, Matt, thank you. Boy, just listen to that, just brings it all back, doesn't it? New details tonight on a fatal multi-vehicle accident happening last night in Southington. Around 6:30 Tuesday evening, a car and a motorcycle collided on Queen Street near the Mobil gas station. David Santabria of Plainville suffered severe injuries after his motorcycle collided with the vehicle. He later died of his injuries at a nearby hospital. The driver of the other vehicle appeared to have no injuries.